Welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we like to talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. My name's Don Marshall. I'm a big chubby guy living here in Hollywood, and if I were a Disney princess, I would be Alice in Wonderland, because I like traveling, meeting strange people, and eating unusual foods.
Alice isn't a princess. For some marketing reasons, she might appear to be, but she's not.
Oh, goodness. I have to follow that. All right. So my name is Dan Oliverio. I'm an author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. I would be the llama in that Inca cartoon.
Oh, Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, I'm the llama. I don't know why.
I know somebody who worked on that.
It just occurs to me. I don't know.
Oh, it's me now. Sorry, I'm not. I was just kind of staring at the quadrant of us.
You're not used to going after Dan?
I mean, yeah, it's only been 26 times.
26 episodes, yeah.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and if I were a Disney character, I would be I'd be Ursula. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Own it.
Life's full of tough choices in it.
My name is Michael. I'm a chaser, and if I were a Disney character, I would definitely be Aladdin. That is probably my favorite Disney character.
Aww.
And
you're a kleptomaniac.
I can show you the world.
Oh man, this is
because he doesn't get enough fan mail.
You'd be amazed what he'd do to give you a magic carpet ride.
Michael is currently wearing a vest with no shirt. And
there's a monkey in my room, but I don't know how he got
and
here.
His puffy
I'm just not sure how the
hot
pasties
pants.
shaped like little fezzes work.
Well, that's a weird image for everyone. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's
we're a little giddy.
Still in quarantine. Stuff is kind of opening back up, but let's be honest, we're gonna probably close again soon.
It's going to close down again. People are getting stupid. We have outbreaks surging all across the U.S. Like now we're actually seeing surges in all the red states where there weren't enough people to make it surge before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Did you say people are getting stupid? Because I could have sworn you said getting stupid, and I can't imagine a time where people weren't complete morons.
Oh, the dumb is real. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday I was leaving the doctor's office, and I was very proud of the number of people I saw wearing masks, including I saw a homeless man wearing a mask, which I just
really
I was surprised by. I guess only because it just showed the level of dedication of Angelinos in
awareness.
Well,
I think a lot of the homeless charities here have been distributing masks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. I was going to say, I can't remember if we talked about this before, but Don and I once a few weeks ago attempted to do the sort of overlapping bubbles thing they're doing in Europe.
You mean like social circles, those kind of bubbles?
Yeah, like becoming basically our own monogamous walking buddies while still wearing masks and being socially distant. But, we can go on a walk. And we went out on a walk to Griffith Park, and we passed dozens and dozens of people. Everyone's out walking.
Dozens.
And 9 out of 10 of the people that we saw had no mask. Or had a mask and were not wearing it. Just brought a mask
over their neck or hanging off the ear.
Yeah, but not even just when they get close to you, they put it on briefly. Nope, they just walking right by kids with no masks. Like almost everyone was not wearing a mask.
That was a combo I was very interested by. There were a couple families where the parents were wearing masks, but the kids weren't. And I'm like, you
kids bounce
realize
right back.
this is defeating the entire purpose,
Yeah. It was highly demoralizing. So to balance out Trevor's positive news, I want to make you feel terrible because I certainly did. In fact,
it's Michael's world.
What is it? The Nextdoor app? Somebody popped up with a warning that just said, "Wear your fucking masks, people."
Yeah. So right by me, there's this little park on the way into Griffith. It's an entrance to Griffith Park where there's this dancing bronze bear at the front. That for years a guerrilla knitting group has been knitting outfits for that bear, sneaking into the park in the middle of the night and dressing it. Right. Now it's illegal. It's illegal. The park services aren't allowed to let the clothing stay up there, but the park services have always gotten a little busy and overloaded with other work whenever they dressed the bear. So it always stayed up for a few days. Every day I've gone by that park, I keep looking at it, hoping to see a nice knitted mask on that bear as a reminder to everyone at the park. So if anyone out there has any mad knitting skills, I will personally go out there and put the mask on the bear if you make it. I promise.
What if coronavirus got the knitters?
Oh no.
I'm willing to say that there are an awful lot of knitters out there that may be in the danger demographic for this particular disease. So
You mean they've been nitpicked off?
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
I'm still working on a really good pun for like a gorilla knitting group.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
A bear?
Just picturing gorillas knitting.
That's where I went first.
Well, let's dive right on into the mailbag. Michael, cue the mailbag music.
Cue that music, the banjo.
All right.
Down.
So, a friend of the podcast writes, how do you suggest handling a chaser who wants sex but doesn't want to be public or social with a chubby guy? Any advice is appreciated.
Kill him.
okay, there's
I mean, the first question.
There's this play called Liz Estrada that you might want to look up.
My first question is, like, is this a dating scenario? Like, are you dating romantically, or is this just like a hookup that you found that you're trying to turn into? Like,
I mean, if he won't go out with you in public, it's not dating.
It's well, and it
no,
doesn't
but like,
matter,
is the expectation dating? Like, because if the expectation was only like, hey, we're just gonna hook up and I'm not even gonna get to know you, and that's what was agreed on, then But like, if it was like, hey, I like you as a person and let's date and let's hook up and let's hang out, obviously then that's different.
I doubt it's that far. But I think Don's point is well taken, that whether it's A or B, thing one or thing two, it amounts to the same thing if they're not going to be seen in public with you. It's going to be a hookup at your house.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, in all fairness, that can be fine. I mean, I have, I think, been in that situation where I'm like, I'm annoyed, but the results are worth it. It's like, eating ribs sometimes. It's a mess, but reward,
Yeah. You do need as much time with the wet nap afterwards.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was my take on this, is that chasers like this are like hot dogs. You know, the hot dog you get at a street cart or the hot dog you get at the county fair. It's lovely. It's delicious. It is what it is. But you don't mistake the hot dog for a meal, and you don't blame the hot dog for not being a meal. That's not what's on offer. If you want something else, you got to go get something else. But what I'm saying is, don't settle for that. You would never settle for a hot dog when you wanted dinner, right?
Right.
And in the same sense like this, you don't have to settle for that. On the other hand, it doesn't do anybody any good to say like hot dogs are evil. You should whatever.
Yeah.
The pigs would love to disagree with you.
I think, knowing what you're getting yourself into, sometimes you don't find out until after the fact, which sucks. But ultimately, that kind of a chaser, that kind of a person, it has issues that they are maybe not even struggling with. Maybe they haven't even decided that it's an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Which it's not on you to fix and never should be. And much more to the point, like, that doesn't just get fixed overnight, even if somebody does say it's something I want to work on.
Well,
like
honestly, I don't think it's worth you working on it with this person.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
In that, let me put it in these terms. If they're not willing or able to see the work they need to do on themselves, why should you do all the heavy lifting? It's just not worth it.
And like I said, it's a hot dog. You're not going to work on a hot dog either.
And it's not your job to fix people.
Yeah.
It's not your job to fix people.
I think there's definitely a lot of this going on, which is what causes a lot of chubs frustration. And I wish it caused more chasers more frustration, because they don't know what they're missing, because they're literally in the closet.
Yeah.
So I definitely, like, I deal with this a lot in my work, where it's not just the occasional guy doesn't want to be seen. Like, it tends to be a lot more out there. On the other hand, we should say that, Michael and I are examples of chasers who have zero problem being seen in public with a beautiful fat man. Mm-hmm. So I think it's also, it largely comes down to what you're willing to settle for, and don't settle for what you don't want. If you want a hot dog, have a hot dog, like Trevor says. If you don't want a hot dog, then please don't mistake it for dinner.
And there, I don't know what would happen. So I find psychology, and in this case, reverse psychology, interesting. So what would happen if you told the guy, like, if you came around to it and you're like, okay, I can wrap myself around the fact that I'm just having a hot dog, and to you it's like, I'm just having a hot dog. I can, there's something better out there. And then if you ever, I don't know, if the chaser ever caught wind of that, or if it was like, oh no, you're just a hot dog for me. Like, you're not the whole meal. You're not like, can we go back to 80 Bizzo? Like,
oh, yeah, that's actually happened to me before. Yeah.
Wait, happened to you, or you did that to somebody?
I came to a realization that this guy was not going to be anything beyond what we were, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and he would occasionally talk to me about other people he was with. So I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. That's where we are. I went out and I started being a little bit more aggressive with other guys, and suddenly he got super clingy.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, oh God.
Yeah, this extends all the way up the dating spectrum from what you're talking about, which is maybe friends with benefits, to chasers who will claim up and down they want to be monogamous. Oh yeah, no, because the chub will say, sometimes like an older chub who's experienced will be like, we can do this monogamous, we can do this non-monogamous, and the chaser will be like, oh no, baby, it's just you. I want to be monogamous, and what he really means is, no, I want you to be monogamous,
yes,
and I want to fuck around, and I call that dog in the yard syndrome, where if you imagine that you have a dog in a suburban yard, the dog has to stay in the yard, but you're free to go and come and go as you please. And that just doesn't work. And I think a lot of times monogamy is a position that people take because they don't want the other person, because it's not that they can't handle monogamy, they can't handle their partner being non-monogamous. And that's where you get these reactions, like I said, or he's talking about other guys, but when you start talking about other guys, it's somehow offensive.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, and maybe this sounds a little, I don't think sexual predator is the right word for it, but let's just say capitalizing on the politics of your situation. If he's not going to treat you like a decent human being and he's just going to treat you like a fuck buddy, you know what? Now, since all you get to have is a hot dog, you get to dress up that hot dog however you like.
Damn straight.
Experiment. Try the things out that you never thought you might like relish or chutney. Or, God forbid, black garlic. I don't know. But now is the time to figure that out, since this one ain't a keeper.
There is a wonderful dish that I think is kind of a Chicago area diner thing called a franchise, where you take a hot dog and you slice it down the middle and stuff it with cheese. And wrap.
Is it jack cheese?
No, well, usually it's like cheddar.
And fold it in a pizza?
If you're talking about a chaser, this sounds very painful.
Slice into the hot dog.
Some jack cheese, fold it in a pizza.
Slice the hot dog open.
Cheesy blasters.
God damn it, Michael. Slice the hot dog open, stuff it with cheese, wrap it in bacon, deep fry it. And it is the most beautiful.
It's Chicago. They do this all the time.
Oh my God.
It is heaven. It is beautiful. It is.
I feel like if you share this to a bunch of Los Angelinos, we're just going to die of cholesterol overdose right away.
Yes. In Chicago, they call it food.
Yes.
Just to be absolutely clear, the Big Fat Gay Podcast does not endorse splitting open your tricks hot dog,
stuffing them with cheese, and then deep frying them.
No, or otherwise, I don't know. If you're gonna have a hot dog, have a hot dog.
Just go hog wild.
I do want to pitch something in here, because sometimes guys in my seminars will say, well, how can you tell? Like, you go on a couple of dates and then you discover, like, this is a closet case. And something that you can do just from the outset is, in your first initial setup of the date, if you start with suggesting a public meeting place, just any public meeting place, really. Like, if you just say, hey, let's meet for drinks, and then sure, we can have sex afterwards, but just let's meet for drinks. Let's meet for coffee. Let's meet at a diner. Anything like that, you will probably get a response that will indicate exactly where that person is. Mm-hmm. Like a very classic response is like, well, can't we just go to your house? You're like, okay. And what, and if you say, yeah, we can do that, but what if we first, and he's like, no, I'd really just be more comfortable going to your house. Okay, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm depressed now.
Again, it's
a hot dog.
It's a hot dog, exactly. The depression, the disappointment comes when you thought you were getting steak and a hot dog shows up. That's the problem.
Yeah, that would be disappointing.
Like the next time I hook up with one of these guys, I'm just going to actually say to him when he walks through the phone, oh, you're just a hot dog, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, it goes back to the point that men are wieners. So,
So Trevor, what's going on in the world of our K-pop stands?
The K-pop army is at it again. We should.
Woohoo!
I mean, if this keeps up, we're going to need special K-pop music.
Yes.
Do they have such a thing?
I don't know.
I mean, Michael, were you part of a K-pop band at one point?
I was. What?
that was a boy band.
Don, I'm trying to be your yes and, but I don't know where to go with that one.
Well, just sing a little something for us.
Sing.
I'm not.
Sing my angel of music.
Keep singing. No. But so I guess it was last week. It's a new week already. Jesus.
Time is still a flat circle.
Yes. I hate saying these words. President Trump had his rally in Tulsa, which if you've been, part of the world, everything about that was kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
And the stadium was more than half empty. It was
2/3 empty.
And they were they had like all these overflow spaces booked because on the, I guess, Donald Trump, whatever garbage website, there was a place where you could request tickets so they could get a head count. And K-pop stands, and I think it was an effort between K-pop stands, Anonymous, and just Gen Z to book as many
TikTok
tickets
users,
as possible.
yeah.
TikTok, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that they would basically do all of this and then no one would show up.
Awesome.
And it's just a lovely.
So do they announce like we have a sold out,
what ended up happening was the Trump administration just crowed for weeks on end about 1 million plus people want tickets. All these people are going to come. Now
they booked overflow venues.
Yeah.
They
booked
overflow
venues.
They set up outdoor spaces, which they started breaking down before the rally even started.
But the whole point with it, they didn't actually block anyone from going.
Yeah.
Because those events are still general admission. It's first come, first serve. All that the original intent was just for them to overblow their numbers crazily so they'd look stupid. But now, because they had 6,000 people show up at a 19,000 person venue when they were expecting well over 200,000 people, not only do they look like idiots, but now they're also sort of understanding that the bullshit that they're putting out, even their supporters aren't buying. So when their own lives are on the line, suddenly, maybe we can't really trust what this president's saying.
Yeah, I think it's important to connect the dots there. I think what Don's saying is that the reserve of tickets, there was no limit on how many tickets you could reserve. So somebody who is a K-pop fan reserving a ticket on a lark did not block some ardent Trump supporter.
Yeah.
So it was not a case of that. It was that the ardent Trump supporters simply chose not to show up. Oh, I don't know, maybe because there's a pandemic.
Yeah. They were trying to pretend that there were protesters that made people feel unsafe.
Oh, please.
But there was no violent protesters, and
the protesters were like miles and miles away.
Yeah, well, there were some at front. Apparently, one of the doors was blocked for about 15 minutes after everyone was allowed in.
Yeah. There's another part to this that hasn't gotten a lot of press, and understandably, when you do this to an event, the event goes all out and spends a lot of money on overflow and on T-shirts and on all the things that they're going to provide for 200,000 people that they wouldn't have had to provide for 6,800. And so it's not just a matter of making them look stupid. They actually made them waste a lot of money. Unfortunately, the Trump campaign has so much money. I mean, literally twice as much as the Democratic candidate, that it's a drop in the bucket for them. But yeah, it was a torrential amount of money wasted, but not nearly enough to make a dent.
Yeah, I can't imagine Trump is sitting there aware of that kind of waste of money going, I don't care that it was wasted. No. I'm sure that got under his skin, and for me, that's enough. Like just knowing, like he was furious backstage. Like people,
did you see his walk from the helicopter back to the White House after
the walk of shame? Oh my God, he was angry. Oh, it was
I've seen versions where they had like the sad trombone music playing under as he's walking.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Arrested Development theme. It was. It's been beautiful.
I saw the Incredible Hulk theme.
Oh, that would be awesome. La, la, la.
But thank you, K-pop Army.
Yes.
Thank you, TikTok, Gen Z.
That's awesome.
So, is there something going on in Lizzo world?
Oh, it must be.
I mean, there's always something in Lizzo world.
Cue the music.
He's just singing to himself now.
I feel like Lizzo actually, compared to like the amount of content she was cranking out on TikTok and everything the past couple of weeks, it's actually a little less. But for Juneteenth this past weekend, she hosted an online fundraiser and silent auction and did this promotional video for it where she has a very Lady Godiva look where she's naked but has this very long flowy wig covering herself and is sitting in a stairway with candles.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an amazing
Stunning.
look. And also was doing a fundraiser for Juneteenth. She posted a little video of her getting a knock at the door and she opens it and it's just her Grammys sitting there.
Oh, her Grammy. I'm sorry, you said that and I was picturing her grandmother.
No,
No.
Grammys.
Grammy.
Her three
Plural.
Grammys.
Her multiple Grammys.
She used to have 4, one died.
Yeah, but it's just it's a wonderful time. It's
She's having fun.
just a little having fun.
Has she reinflated
living
the
her
butt?
best Lizzo
Has it
life.
gone back into the closet?
No, oh my God.
I think she's using it as a couch now.
It needs to be one of those like pool things where you jump on it and then it
Like,
flings you.
yeah,
into the
like somebody
pool.
else is lying on it and it just flies you into the air.
Yeah. No, I was actually
I've never seen an inflatable butt as a trebuchet.
Yes. Well, buckle
And
up.
you haven't lived.
I was thinking about, so there's a lot of statues of problematic figures being torn down, and people have been posting memes about what to replace them with. And I was like thinking about if we replaced all of these statues with giant inflatable Lizzo butts.
Yes.
And I
Wait,
was
but
gonna
would they be
Photoshop it,
bronze giant inflatable?
Yeah,
Lizzo
that's
butts?
that was the first thing that I was going to ask you.
No, they would be inflatable so they could kind of twerk in the wind.
Oh my God. I can just see Dan and Michael going on a motorboating tour of the South.
I'll wacky waving inflatable arm flailing too.
Yes. No, but I actually found the company that makes them, like that made her butt. And it was the first time they had made butts before, but as part of like kind of Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, like really huge inflatable characters. So they knew how to do it, but like, okay, but now we just have to isolate the butt.
We need to really zoom in on that butt.
Yes.
Zoom in
But
and
so
hands.
now
Well, there are exercises for isolating the butt. It's all right.
if we want to maybe
Clench.
if our listeners want to
Unclench.
crowdfund a butt for us, we can have a big fat gay butt that we could
Yes.
put somewhere.
And
we could put it on our roof,
and when
actually.
we
and
could.
that would,
Yes,
people would see
put
it.
it-
Big fat gay Buttcast.
Yes.
And then every time we do a live show, we can bring the big fat gay butt, and then people can take pictures, and then it will attract Lizzo because
Yes.
she knows the butt signal.
Yes.
The butt signal.
Well, I think I have
done,
the slogan.
sir. Well done.
I think I have the slogan for this. It's butt munch.
Oh God!
Oh,
All right, moving on.
yeah. So it's summer. Stuff is kind of opening up, and maybe it shouldn't be, and maybe by the time this drops, everything will close again. But we're getting back out there. Maybe you're going to the beach and being socially distant. Maybe your pool's open where if you live in like a apartment complex or something. Maybe you're like my family and setting up a chair in your asphalt driveway and calling it Tar Beach. But
Maybe you're
Wherever you're
participating in
going.
the nude bike ride event coming up.
ooh,
Gyms
oh
are
God,
open,
that's a lot of
so
sunburn.
pools also attached to the gyms open as well.
No, not yet. I don't think.
The
Are they
point
not?
is body
gonna-
confidence.
Yes.
Who's got it? How do you get it? What do you do with it once you've got it?
everything.
Maybe you feel like you're a giant inflatable butt.
Waving in the wind.
Yes, waving in the wind.
Do you
but yeah, I think it's
like a giant butt.
It's
floating through the wind.
It's our new theme song.
It's a weird time. I mean, we've talked about kind of quarantine and body issues during quarantine and
COVID-19,
but like just as the world opens back up, especially like, you know, there's the whole thing about the summer body, and now it's summer and everyone has been inside snacking and not getting haircuts for several weeks.
Yeah. And like, what does feeling good about yourself look like when a lot of the things people traditionally do to like take care of themselves couldn't be done for the last 3 months? And how much does that matter? And how do you find your self-confidence and your happiness with your own self-image so that you can go out and enjoy yourself in the sun for the half a week that we're going to be able to do that before everything shuts down again? Oh, Trevor Dan, a listener sent in a video for us to watch about Louange.
Louange M is her handle on Instagram. And she has she's a big, beautiful black woman, and she has Instagram and she has YouTube videos, and she talks about everything from makeup to body confidence. And one of the friends of the podcast sent me this because she's just wonderful. And she talks about all the remarks that she gets about like, wow, you're so confident. Wow, that's so great that you're so confident. And like, you know, you shouldn't be so confident. You're really fat. And just the fact that you get the haters, but then you also get the people who are giving you this backhanded compliment, like, wow, you're so confident.
I can't believe you're so confident.
Yeah, how, well, you know.
Was it Nicole Byers that put out the book, So Fat, So Brave?
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's always what people tell her when she puts on a bathing suit or something attractive. Wow, you're so brave to wear that.
Yeah. So she kind of responds to the authentic question of what I think a lot of people are telling her, which is, I wish I had your self-confidence. And it's not so much that she shouldn't, but that they feel a lack in themselves, and she doesn't, obviously. So how do I get to you from there, from here where I am? And what she talks about is in terms of affirmation. She talks about looking in the mirror. What it reminds me of is that she says something that I think is really important. She says, everybody has stuff they don't like about themselves, but I also think that everybody comes with themselves as whole. Like you are whole. But we forget that, or we get told differently and we believe it, that there's something missing, something wrong. And what she talks about is acknowledging yourself as beautiful and acknowledging yourself that, what Trevor, you were saying that Lizzo was saying about, I don't work out for you to approve of my body. I work out for me because I like doing this for my body. And this coming at self-esteem from a position of, I think, first recognizing that you have negative self-talk, that what are the voices in your head? Because a lot of people don't notice those negative voices. They just think that's the air they breathe. They just think that's normal. They just think that's the truth.
Right.
But when you start examining like, look at, listen to that thought I just had. Or as someone once said, you don't have to believe everything you think.
Yeah. I think even just look at like we talked about self-affirmation for a second, like looking at yourself in the mirror and finding positive things to say. Look at yourself in the mirror and try and smile. Just see what happens when you try and smile at yourself. Look yourself in the eyes and
notice
how does
what
it
happens.
feel? Yeah.
Yeah. And notice what happens, because you're going to get a flood of talk back at you from inside your head. And that's what you want to look at. Oh, wow, that just happened. And look at it not as that's the truth, but as, oh, what an interesting reaction to have.
Right.
I was reading an article in Psychology Today about self-esteem and things you can do to build it. And one of the things they talk about early on is affirmations. But they gave two pieces of advice with affirmations that I thought were interesting that I think I'd heard a little bit before, but hadn't really sunk in. One, you have to make an affirmation that you can believe. If you make an affirmation that is too far outside your personal belief system, it actually makes you believe it less. It damages the self-esteem. So
absolutely right.
Saying, I am the most beautiful man in the world. If you actually believe that, you're already a sociopath. But if you don't believe it, you're going to make yourself feel worse because you are not the thing you're saying. So rather than I am going to defeat all my enemies and rule the world, try I'm going to go out and conquer the local convenience store and I will own it myself, because that's believable, right? The other thing they said is that your psyche does not hear the word not.
Yes. Good.
So an affirmation that says like, I am not a bad person doesn't work, because you're not hearing the word not. Your body, your sort of inner psyche is hearing, I am a bad person, because you're trying to deflect that. So speak in the positive to yourself. Think in terms of the positive. I am this. I will be this. I am going to do this.
Yeah. I think it's really, really wise. Yeah. So this is something that's come up for me. Like we had the episode when quarantine was first hitting about like the COVID-19 and people making all of these jokes about gaining weight because they can't do their exercises. And we addressed that. And, I was just coming off of pretty much a solid year of playing soccer. I was feeling great about myself. And I had about 2 months of trail off where I was sort of riding that high where, can't play soccer anymore, but I'm still fine. And I still feel, I'm still sort of riding that out. And then a few weeks ago, maybe a little longer, like it started really sinking in like, oh my God, I haven't done anything with myself. I haven't been exercising. I haven't been doing this. What happens when soccer does start again and I'm going to be totally out of shape? And I started spinning in the way that's very familiar. And that for me leads to a lot of other issues like, having a hard time with self-care. And so this is actually something that I've been sort of bouncing back and forth with, trying to like, over the years, I've tried to come up with certain tools that I can use to combat that because I struggle with that. And I still don't think I have a silver bullet for it. I thought, well, soccer was for a while, but I can't do that now. So something else has to go into its place. But all of that to say that the thing that I have been trying to focus on most, which I think the quarantine is helping with in a way, is that this is just my own terminology, but don't focus on the score, focus on playing the game that you like. Like, it's not about the number, it's not about the pounds, it's not about the inches, it's not about the measurement of where you are. It's about how do you feel? Like, how do you feel right now and what will make you feel better? And just reminding myself not to draw comparisons, because that's what a score is, right? You were here and now you're here. Try not to draw comparisons to yourself or to anybody else, but just look at yourself right now and find reasons to smile. Find things that will make you feel good right now, because that is like the basic building block that you can put everything else on top of, like self-confidence, like going out to the beach in your swimsuit and not feeling embarrassed or self-conscious.
I think that's really great. I would also pitch in there, when you talked about reasons to like yourself or reasons to acknowledge yourself, stuff that's going right. We're so conditioned through many avenues to validate, to value, and to hold up as truth the stuff that's wrong. Like, it's wrong. It must be the truth that I look terrible today, and it's just a piece of affirmational fiction that I think I should look good. Mm-hmm. And actually, those two are of absolutely equal value. They are both fictive. They are both things you are thinking in your head. And there's an image in the mirror and you're having an emotional reaction to it one way or the other, but you think one is true and the other is making up stories. And what I would just tell people is they're both stories, except your life is going to be a whole lot more fun if you value the other story. I was on I'll be honest, it was a hookup with a guy. This is way back, and I've told this story in the book. I've told this story at seminars, but it's really important because I thought this guy was really self-confident because he was, dancing in the Castro with his shirt off, and he was a beautiful fat guy. And I'm thinking, okay, I can work with this. This looks like a fun guy to meet and to have some fun with. And he was a little toasty. He wasn't drunk, but he was like, comfortable. And as we start going back to his hotel, he starts to get a little more lucid. And for him, that meant more self-deprecating. And he starts expressing it. And I said to him at one point, I said, can I just stop you right here? Because I've been on this train before and I know where it goes. I get that you have a particular opinion about your body. I happen to hold a very different opinion about your body. For the next several hours, can we just go with my opinion? Because it's a lot more fun. And you can have your opinion back in the morning. But what he got was that we were just talking about two different opinions, and that one led to pleasure and delight and the other led to problems. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't a matter of somebody's got the truth and somebody's trying to convince you otherwise. It was a matter of, where am I going to live? Where am I going to spend my head? Where am I going to spend my thoughts? And I think that's really critical for people to understand, that often when people are denigrating themselves in their head, they're just listening to a really bad opinion, and there are other opinions they could be having.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I am a believer in internal self-esteem, but I think that's the harder self-esteem to come by, right? Just coming entirely from yourself. So for people like me who actually do get a lot of self-confidence from external affirmations, and I think I went into this in the dating before, believe people when they tell you good things.
Absolutely.
It's very easy to just assume people are being polite. It's like you're making excuses for getting compliments that other people are making. Mm-hmm. And I know way too many people where that's a default. That's me very often.
Yeah. And believing is a choice. Like, I feel like there's a lot of times you're struck with an opinion or a fact, and your reaction to it is what you believe is just the truthful, that's just it. Your reaction is your reaction. And well, I don't believe that, but you can sit there and go, actually, I like that. I would like to believe that, so I'm going to. You can choose that. You can choose to ignore the thing that is going to make the next moment worse in favor of something that's going to make it feel better.
Yep. Definitely. And as far as clothes, Dan, I'd be curious if you have an opinion on this. But I definitely feel like there are two different ways you can dress, right? There's the way you dress for yourself, and for whatever qualities it is that makes you want to wear those clothing, whether it's comfort, whether it's concealment, whether it's attention grabbing, right? And then there's the way to dress to attract other people specifically, right? My default form of dressing is comfort, right? I tend to wrap my body up in layers. I like levels to my clothes, a lot of color and pattern and stuff. I am aware that makes me comfortable. And that gives me a type of self-confidence, but it doesn't attract people, right? I have like a different set of clothing when I want to feel attractive to chaser types. Things that are a little less concealing, actually fewer patterns, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you need to know what type of self-esteem and self-confidence you're looking for that day too. I get different types from both of them.
Yeah. And I mean, since you asked, I would carve that up a little differently.
Okay.
I would carve it up as, first of all, anybody's allowed to dress how they dress. You've maybe heard of this phrase, are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? And I am very familiar just in my own life with playing not to lose. I get that. And I think that comes up for a lot of people, and not just fat people, because clothing makes such a statement in our world because it's designed to, that's why we have so many clothing options. You could go out in the world, not dressing for other people, but just sort of putting yourself out there. And when I say yourself, I don't mean you particularly, Don. I mean anyone.
Yeah, of course.
The point is to actually go, oh, is this dressing to win? And by win, it's like your own goal, to express yourself, to be seen as you wish to be seen. Or am I dressing to not have slings and arrows thrown at me?
Right.
No, I like that. I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. That, now that I'm sort of reframing it in my head, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the golden rule for all people, but especially chubs and super chubs, is to wear the under the clothes back suspenders for your butt.
Back to the suspenders episode. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what they hook onto.
It's a strap. It goes around your arms. Like
no, I think you guys
holster.
are describing two different. No, I think you're describing two different parts of the apparatus. I think Don is asking how they clip onto your pants.
No, I was actually thinking, how do they hang onto your body?
Oh, never mind then. Yeah. Sorry. Like a gun holster, Don.
Like straps.
It's a gun holster, but for your butt. I said it.
So self-confidence while nude. Let's get to it.
Ooh. Yeah,
right?
Steamy.
Been there.
Okay, so that's where I tend to get a little uncomfortable. Now, anyone have advice on this? Like, I think the only advice that I can think of is concentrate on why you are in that state. So if I'm in a bathing suit and I'm on a beach, I want to feel the sun on my skin. I don't get to feel that very often, right? So rather than focusing on, oh my God, all eyes must be on me, focus on, oh God, the sun is on me and that feels amazing. Or the water feels so good against my naked body and all that stuff. Like, focus on the feel good. Focus on the anticipation if you're naked because you're with another person. You know, focus on the fact that they want to see your body in this state. You know?
Yeah, because I think so often, believe me, if I'm in bed with a beautiful, and I've had this situation, right? I was in bed with a beautiful fat man, and I had to talk him into keeping the lights. I don't mean on like an operating room lights on. I mean just like that I could actually see him, right? And that was a convincing. I'm like, come on, you know, it's not fair to seduce me into the bedroom and then not let me see you. I forget which Greek myth that is, but when I did, and I just looked at him and he was gorgeous, and I said, wow, you are beautiful. And he said, dude, you need therapy. And he did not mean that in a nice way. And I've had that a lot where I just think whoever I'm with is just so gorgeous. And they're like, no, you're wrong. Have you had that?
No, and I'm trying to figure out what I would do if that did happen. Like, oh my God, what would I do if somebody...
Well...
I've never said something like that. But I have been in that moment where I remember, perhaps too much personal information. Long time ago, this was the mid-90s, I actually spent a little time with an underwear model in New York. And I remember sitting there looking at him going like, I cannot understand how lucky, like, what wonderful thing that I did in a past life to end me up here with this dude. And he's touching my body, and I just remember the breathiest voice coming out of him going like, you are so beautiful. And I didn't say you must need therapy, but I do remember really tensing up like, oh, like you're going to make fun of me now. Like I'm waiting for the punchline. And it's innate. It was innate to my core at that point.
Yeah.
And no amount of like front of brain thought can just help you bust through that. You need to spend some time considering the other perspective, listening.
Absolutely. And
hearing,
you know, Don, it's a mind fuck because for a lot of fat people, a lot of fat guys, they have spent their entire life not being sexual, trying not to be noticed, trying to just be, to just not have a body in the room, to just be their smile, their personality, their intellect. And all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, you become the hottest sexual object in the room. And that is a mind fuck. Like, how did this happen? Who are you talking to? And
I don't know. I just have to say real quick. I think if you should really consider when you find yourselves in that situation, you are the winner chicken dinner.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and it's something that I've said because I've interacted with a lot of chubs who kind of have that like, oh no, you're the pretty one, or oh no, not me, or oh what, or you need therapy. And what I try to convey is, you know, the secret that chasers, and I think Michael will back me up on this. You'll say, but you know, the unspoken truth of chubby chasers is that we think you guys are amazingly beautiful. If you knew how beautiful we think you are,
yeah.
First of all, we don't even like to admit it sometimes because it makes us feel so vulnerable.
Yep.
And we would, and I will even tell a guy up front, like, I just want to warn you, I tend to gush.
Yep.
So,
yep.
So you may experience this, but I would tell the guy, look, do you know the expression, you brought the pretty? Like sometimes, you know, you're with a really beautiful guy and the guy's like, well, no, you should just do me because I brought the pretty. And I tell the fat guy, like, no, dude, you brought the pretty. You're kind of done. You showed up gorgeous and sexy. You're like, okay, my turn.
Yeah. I have definitely run into this where I've had to just sort of clarify for somebody. It's one of two things. One, it's like, it starts with like, okay, I know I'm overdoing it. I know I've said this 100 times before, but you have to understand, like, oh my God.
like, oh my God. Oh my God.
You have no idea. And then the other one is like, just so you know, there is a very particular compliment that I have in my mind right now that I'm not saying because it's too much, and I know it's too much, but you have to understand, oh my God, you have no idea. You have no idea.
There is, once you realize the power, like, so in this situation with Michael and Dan, when you can let go of the baggage you have about your own body and appreciate that level of awe and
because it is
wonder and lust and you can, there's a point where if you can let go of all of that, you can see it. You can see the little like brain shatter inside of someone's head
of the chaser. Yeah.
Yes. Or of the, of the underwear model.
Yeah.
There is immense satisfaction you can feel.
Yeah.
In that, the underwear model could, is in a room full of underwear models or whatever, and underwear model school, wherever that happens. And he picks you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know why he picks you? Because you're the hottest guy in the room full of underwear models.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, you got to get that. You got to get that. And you can fucking own that. And once you allow that to be true, oh my God, so many things.
But
possible.
none of that can happen until you're willing to listen and believe.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I have a tip for this. And this is something that I've actually done myself and started exercising myself because it's helpful, or I found it to be helpful, which is in your own space. If you live alone, then presumably it's your apartment or house. If you live with roommates, then in your own room, if you have your own room, find moments or reasons to not have your clothes on that are not sexual. So like not just time with yourself, like if you're jerking off or whatever, but like, oh, I'm lying in bed watching TV and I'm going to do it shirtless, or maybe I'll do it with just my underwear on, or maybe I'll do it completely naked. And finding ways to just sort of normalize being around your own body and catching glimpses of your own body and feeling how things feel on your skin versus against your clothes will help to just sort of get you comfortable with yourself. And I have found it to be a really good way to build just like a base level of comfort, and that you can build on that in other moments. Like if you're naked with somebody else and you don't normally feel comfortable with the lights on, well, maybe you've been in your own space naked with the lights on, and now you're just adding another person to it who wants to be there because they think you're gorgeous. And now it's not a completely new situation. It's just a partially new situation.
I like that.
Yeah, it's all about being open to sensation and focusing on the rewards from it. I love to swim naked. It feels amazing just across your entire body. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you how many bigger guys I've met who said they've never had that experience because they feel uncomfortable being in that state. Don't deny yourself experiences. You have to have the courage to try it at least once to know.
Or who have never even taken their shirt off in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't remember when I was, maybe last summer, trying to convince someone like to take off your shirt in the pool, and just the freedom of it, the difference in sensation of being in the pool, and just there was so much trauma there they couldn't even consider it.
And I should add, Trevor, wasn't this at a Chub Chaser event? So like everybody in the pool.
It was at a Fat Positive event.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, without a circus tent around my waist, oh my God, I'm fast in the water. Just saying.
Well, I have swum. I've been naked in a pool, but not in, I don't know, in my adult life. I think I was a teenager. But I tend to wear, I don't know, like Speedos or kind of like little boxy cut things because I love the freedom in being able to move in ways that I couldn't if I was wearing, boxy swim trunks or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you say, Don?
Hydrodynamic.
What did you say, Don, that you called it a circus tent?
Circus.
Yeah, a circus tent wrapped around my waist.
Yeah.
I am like a little, synchronized swimming manatee.
Okay, personal, just rant for a moment. Whoever the hell out there is making bathing suits for big guys, okay, stop using material that expands when it gets wet. Because that creates some unfortunate side effects at family swimming events. I'm just saying, I can't tell you how many times I've dived into a pool at a July 4th thing and realized my bathing suit's around my ankles.
At least it's still around your ankles.
Yeah.
Did it not have a drawstring?
It did, but even the drawstring got just loosened up.
I have noticed,
three
like,
different bathing suits that do that.
The strings.
You need your pool suspenders.
Yes. your flesh-toned pool suspenders that only go down your back.
What is it? The Borat Mankini? I'll have to look up one of those.
I recommend you don't.
Aw, are you body shaming me?
No, I'm shaming those mankinis.
Well, anything more on the subject, gentlemen?
Hopefully that's enough to get you started off on the right foot going into the brand new summer. And then and next week, don't worry about it. If you're not there, everything will shut down again, and you'll be back inside.
Yep.
So summer 2020 has been postponed to summer 2021.
Yes.
So I brought a bit.
Yay.
Now, one of the reasons why I brought this specific bit was because we're going to make the announcement this episode. We might as well do it now. Big Fat Gay Podcast is going to be taking sort of a mini hiatus during the next month.
But don't worry, we're not leaving you completely.
We're taking.
You're going to get little bits, little crumbs of podcasts.
Yeah.
Little things will drop on each Wednesday.
We're going to keep going every Wednesday, so that's not stopping. But we're going to take July as far as episodes go, and consider it like the season break. So season 1 today is the finale, and then season 2 will start up in August. And between now and then, we're going to come up with some fun things to do. So next week on July 1st, we had a couple listeners ask us about this, and we thought it'd be fun to take an hour instead of our normal episode because we're on hiatus. We're going to take an hour and do an open Zoom call for a question and answer. Basically, we'll be on the call and you can join us. And we actually had a few different topics that we were going to cover.
Yeah, maybe you want to know about the podcast or about us. Maybe you want to know about dating and things you're going, and talk about things you're going through.
Sex.
Make comments, ask questions.
Sex.
Maybe you want to know about Don's
Sex.
oatmeal bread, that recipe.
Oh yeah, which is super good.
So it's just a forum for people to make contact with us and talk about what you guys want to talk about,
Yeah, and given that everything's happening on Zoom anyway, that's the way that we're connecting nowadays. It felt like a pretty natural progression, and certainly I like the idea of helping continue to build community with the people who listen to the show. I think that's more valuable now than ever. So I'm all about it. That'll be next Wednesday. We'll have the details about timing. Because we have international listeners, so we want to try and be inclusive as much as possible. But we'll post more about that on our social, and we'll keep you guys updated.
So, since we are going to be away for a month, I thought now would be a good time to do our season in review, part 2.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I have written a small number of limericks to share with all of you.
This one was so much fun.
As I start reading them, you will need to buzz in,
Yes.
and whoever buzzes in first will be able to give the first answer when I finish reading the entire question.
Okay.
Or the entire limerick.
Yes.
All right? We ready?
Yes.
All right. If you're Muslim or Jewish or Wiccan, it don't matter. It won't make you sicken. There's no pork and no meat, though there may be some beet. Eat it up. It's a...
Buzz. Vegan McChicken.
You are correct, sir.
Whoa.
Yay.
Impressive.
1 point for Michael.
Yes.
The vegan McChicken was first mentioned in episode 19 with Lizzo's recipe.
Entitled Vegan McChicken.
Though for us it sort of fell flat, we still thought it worth a quick chat. We swear to Jehovah, it was featured on Nova. We reviewed...
Buzz.
Yep.
The documentary called Fat.
The Truth About Fat. Yes.
The Truth About
Nice.
Fat.
That is
Nice.
correct. Well done.
Good job.
So The Truth About Fat, we talk about in episode 17, where we talk about the documentary that we thought, if you're fat, you probably already know all this stuff. If you're sort of delving into the world of fat and you haven't thought about it much, it's worth it.
If you need a primer.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Question number 3. So far we have Trevor 1, Michael 1.
Yeah, I think I'm sucking at this.
While we don't recommend that you try it, we'd say reading about it's a riot. If you must follow suit, eat some tropical fruit. Dole it out. It's the
pineapple diet.
There we go. Dan got one.
I just had to get one. Then I got it.
So the pineapple diet was a very special treat that Trevor brought in for us on episode 11.
Which the guy, like, decades later, copped just making it up entirely.
Yeah, I love that. It's the first diet creators who's like, no, there was no. We just
bullshit.
wanted money.
We just thought it was.
It's just looking at a pineapple.
All right, we got 3 for 3. We got a neck and neck race here. We got 2 more questions.
All right, tiebreaker.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Though the writing might be on the wall, the content begins to appall. Though 5 kids are billed, at least 4 kids are killed. You're an anti-fat asshole.
Buzz.
Yes.
J.K. Rowling?
Well,
nope, that is incorrect. Do we have another guess? Shall I reread?
yeah, reread it. I got to wrap my brain around it.
Though the writing might be on the wall, the content begins to appall. Though 5 kids are billed, at least 4 kids are killed. You're an anti-fat asshole. Going once.
I know what episode it's from, but I can't remember.
Going twice. You're an anti-fat asshole. Roald Dahl.
Oh, that, yes. I think we were all in the right place as far as the episode, but yeah, I couldn't figure out what would rhyme with all, but that would do it. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So Roald Dahl, we talk about in episode 20, where we talk about children's literature and the anti-fats. We'll just go with anti-fat stuff that he does. We'll just leave it at that.
There, yes.
Okay, 4 questions. Only 3 answered. 1 point apiece. This is the tiebreaker,
This is the
gentlemen.
true. Okay.
This is the last one. Which of you is the true big fat big gay podcast aficionado? It's wonderful when you awaken. Think it's messy? You might be mistaken. You'll soon feel the leaven coming straight from your oven. Don't fry it. Try.
Buzz.
I
I think that was Dan first.
Really?
Awesome.
I think it was Dan.
It was Dan?
Whoever went zzz was the first
bacon.
one. The
Don't
Toast
try
your
it.
oven
Don't
bacon.
fry it. Try.
Bacon. Bacon in the oven. Baked bacon.
It's good enough. Don't try it. Try baking your bacon.
Bacon your bacon. Okay.
nice. I was
Well
gonna say-
done. So we opened Dan's eyes to the wonderful world of cookie sheet oven bacon.
yes.
Oh, it's awesome.
On
so good.
episode 13. So we talked about a few recipes there, if I recall correctly.
Can I just follow up on that and say that I had a very lengthy discussion with one of our UK listeners about the differences between English bacon and American bacon.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Streaky bacon.
Streaky bacon.
It's totally different. It's a completely different cut of meat. Which
Oh, is that the deal?
it's a completely different
I just
cut.
thought they boiled it. Like,
No.
okay.
No,
well, they do,
no.
but it's no. It's different. It's a different part of the pig.
It's you as an American expecting crispy bacon cut the way that we expect. You just have to change your expectation. It won't be that because it's literally not the same cut and it's not prepared the same way. So once you separate the two, even though they're both called bacon, you can say, "Oh, this is this is that."
This is right. This is wrong.
Exactly. And I will
Honestly,
also
can't
follow
we
up
just
and
come
say,
up with different words for streaky bacon, Canadian bacon, and actual bacon?
I think Canadian bacon and English bacon are the same. I think they're the
Maybe. But the point is the Canadian bacon I don't think is actually Canadian, but that's another matter. I think it's like French toast. Like the French are going
the
around
real
going,
point
"What?"
is that American crispy bacon is the only thing that deserves to be
The
called
only
bacon.
real bacon.
Everything else is pork.
bacon.
Yes. Everything else is pork that's been prepared in some way, but it's not bacon. Okay, well we've strung ourselves up on that one. So
Well, happy summer.
happy summer, everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah.
The school bells ringing.
Trevor has
hold on. If
dumped
they
his
want to
trash
send
all
us-
over the floor.
If they want to pass us a note during the summer vacation, how would they do that?
and, we are going to be here in some form. It's not like we're abandoning anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will still get something from us every week on the podcast platform. You will get
It's going to be like camp. Like you're going to
it'll just be bite size.
Remember the kids you see at school, and then it's like, oh, they're at camp because
Yeah. So each of us is going to
Okay.
do something unique each week in July. So there are 5 Wednesdays in July. So the first one, we're doing our Zoom Q&A, ask us anything, come join us for a little chit chat. And then the 4 weeks following, each one of us will do our own sort of bite-sized reading of various cool different things, some of which we've talked about in the show and some of which we have not.
Some of which we're still figuring out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
I will I will say and Ask Us Anything, have some chill people. Like,
just because you ask
cool.
it doesn't mean we're going to answer it.
Yeah, it's ask me anything, not answer anything you ask.
I have the fear it'll go down one of two roads, either something incredibly personal and anatomical or something so hopelessly geeky like, well, you know, you guys in episode 2, you mentioned this thing about a horse. And like,
Bring it on.
I don't remember.
Bring it on, I say.
Yeah, Don and Michael will know. Yeah.
I
Chapter 7 of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka.
I welcome it. I welcome all the nerdy fans who've memorized the things we say.
And I welcome the anatomy questions.
So if they want to reach out to us over summer, how would they do that, Trevor?
Well,
Go. There's no intro.
Well, so, you know, it's just going. Okay. We're on Twitter and Instagram we're on Twitter and Instagram as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Our website is www.bigfatgaypod.com. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. Facebook too, because you can rate us on Facebook. Happy summer.
Hey.
Your parents just picked you up. Maybe you're listening in the car and oh look, they're pulling over to get you a Happy Meal because it's the last day of school.
Watch
Look
out.
out.
Way to stick the landing, guys.